Hey everybody, Mr. On Demand, man with the master plan, back again with another great video. Today we're going to talk about something really wonderful, and that's the fact that Google is changing the rules about which phones can upgrade to Android 15. And this is good for you because new products are going to be forced to give you more storage. Now, the minimum storage has gone up from 16 to 32 gig. That being said, I hope that filters into the streaming box and TV market as well, so that we get more storage by default, at least 32 gig in any device we buy. Because if you want to be able to upgrade to Android 15, you're going to need to do that. We're going to talk about the information here in this article. While the best cheap phones offer great bang for your buck, like the new Pixel 9a, other cheap phones are cheap for a reason and not worth your money. This is what I always tell people. Look at specs, look at things like features and pick the device that has what you want and need. Um, don't fall for a cheap free product that you're going to end up not liking and then having to try to upgrade again later. Fortunately, Google has rolled out a change that should make the cheapest Android phones slightly better via Android Authority. Google has raised the minimum requirement for a phone hoping to run Android 15. Now phones will need to have at least 32 gig of storage to run the software, double the amount needed to run Android 14 and 13. So this new rule applies to all Android devices, regardless of whether they're brand new or upgrading to Android 15. If you don't have at least 32 gig of free storage, 75% of which has to be open to system files and apps, then you're going to be stuck with Android 14. Android Authority notes that Google can't stop phone makers from selling phones with 16 gig of storage space, but those phones will be restricted to using the open source version of Android, which doesn't have the same licensing restrictions as Google's Prime version. Google could still restrict access to Google mobile services if it wishes. Without GMS, phones won't be able to access Google Play services, the Play Store, or core Google apps. However, as of the time of writing this, those requirements are not actually listed in the GMS licensing rules. So it's in phones makers' best interest to fall in line. In practice, US buyers are going to struggle to find new Android smartphones that don't have at least 32 gig of storage space. Even phones that can be purchased for under $100, like the Moto G Play 2024, Samsung Galaxy A15, come with significantly more than that, 64 gig and 128 gig respectively. That said, Android is popular around the world, and in part because there are so many cheap devices available. People using the very cheapest of those devices will likely be the prime market for a 16 gig phone, and this change means they should have a better overall experience. That's not just because the increased storage space, but also they can take advantage of the best features and upgrades Android 15 has to offer. If you're in the market for a cheap smartphone, I'd recommend getting one with at least 128 gig of storage. It's not that hard to find them, with some even adding micro SD card support for expansion. Not a lot with that micro SD card support. I run personally a Moto G Stylus 5G phone, and that's my daily driver. Because it's a middle range phone. It's not bottom of the line, but it's not top of the line. 256 gig with a micro SD card slot and all the other features I wanted, like a stylus and wireless charging, etc. That being said, when it comes to the phone market, I don't think it's as much about completely specs, but features like stylus and wireless charging and maybe Wi-Fi 6 or 7 or whatever you might want in your phone, or the size of the screen, size of the phone, etc., etc. Camera, megapixels, quality of camera. So those are all features that, and not necessarily storage and processor speed. So I don't think it's so much about processor speed anymore these days, or necessarily storage, as long as phones are going to come with, in my opinion, what I think is a reasonable amount, which is 128 gig at least, and then upgraded for people who need more storage. I think 128 gig, you're going to be fine. You're probably not even going to hit 2/3 of that storage after 2 years of use for normal usage. And the you know, at the top end of that, you know, you can always upgrade if you get one like I did with a micro SD card. There aren't a lot of them available, but there are some out there. So make sure you do your research, figure out what phone's right for you. Don't just opt for the cheapest phone or what they're going to give you for free from the cell phone provider, because the cell phone provider oftentimes gives you a phone that is arguably much less quality than that same phone from the manufacturer. And then sometimes you're paying almost the same price or really, really close. So you really got to look at all of those things and take that into account. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a thumbs up if you did. If not, let me know down below why you didn't like it, and leave me a comment what you think. Or do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this will filter into the Android TV market? I'm hoping that it does, so that we can get devices with more storage in those those devices as well, because more storage is always better. We can load more apps and it makes the device better long term. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.